Hey, what's going on, everyone? This is Mike Kollin at MikeKollin.com. Okay, so I came across a YouTube video. It was a short, I think it's about a minute and a half long, something like that. I'm going to show it to you. Now, before I get to that, okay, now I started going to church literally as soon as I could walk. Like literally when I was a little kid, I would leave the house by myself. For some reason, church fascinated me. I was a little kid. I'm talking like 2.5 years old. I'd be walking down the street. Church was about probably half a mile, maybe a mile away, something like that. And my mom told me, like, yeah, we would look for you. You'd be gone. And then about an hour later, the church say, oh, just to let you know, Michael came to church by himself again. So I was a very dedicated little kid. Honestly, I don't know why. I do remember the first time I went into the children's classroom when they showed me the picture of Jesus and told me his story. I was really fascinated, so that was probably why. So here's the thing. I was diligent. I read my Bible every day, I think from the age of probably 4 or 5 years old, every day for 20 or 30 minutes or more. Went to church every Sunday, started going to Bible studies, etc. So I got really involved the more I went. And yet, I was always like, oh, I guess I misunderstand that. Okay, wow, okay, well, this is what the Bible says, but you're saying it doesn't mean that, it means something else. Oh, wow. I grew up thinking the Bible was so complicated. Essentially, I just thought it was above my pay grade, and I was probably going to have to go get my doctorate degree in biblical studies just to understand anything in the Bible, because it was so complicated. At least, that's what I thought. So when I went through this really huge, big spiritual awakening that lasted 6 months when I was 28 years old, I was like, this is what Jesus says, but that's not what the church says Jesus says. And I'm going through, it was years and years of this going, but that's not what the Bible said that he said. Like, oh, okay. So it was like people were saying, no, you just don't understand it. I'm like, okay, well, I guess it's Greek to me, even though it's English. And I'm not talking one verse. I'm talking decades of being told, no, you're wrong. That's not what he says. I'm like, well, actually it is. He says it right here. Like, well, that's not what he means. I am so sick of that. So I came across a video that brought this subject up. So I go through the spiritual awakening, and this was at a time in my life where I was meditating every day and reading my Bible every day. I was going to 2 churches and going to Bible studies. I was really involved. And I go through the spiritual awakening, and I called my pastor up and said, hey, I either get the Bible or I don't get it at all. Because it's like either I get it and what I think is right, or I'm completely wrong. Like, it's got to be one or the other, because like this is what I'm seeing. Now, Pastor Rex started to laugh. He goes, no, Michael. He goes, you're definitely waking up. He goes, you are seeing the Bible for what it is. Because he and I had a very close relationship, and we just every before church, after church, we got together, went over the Bible. I'd go to his house with him and his wife and his daughter. We'd have lunch after church, and then we'd go into the study and we'd go over. So I was really in depth doing this. This wasn't some light thing. So I had a bunch of stuff marked out in my Bible, and he goes, well, like, what do you mean? And I just started for like 2 hours. I just said, well, this is what Jesus says, but people at church says it doesn't mean that. It says it mean this. And no, Michael, you got to stop listening to them. And so turns out I was right. And I went to another pastor, a very respected pastor, and he goes, no, he goes, yeah, you're right, Mike, about all of those things. I was like, okay. Now, I'm going to give you a really good example, and it is kind of, it's not sneaky, it's not slippery, but I could understand why they would completely misunderstand this, even though this is one of the main verses that is taught in the Bible. Here's what God says, here's what Jesus says with his own words, this is what's going to happen, this is what they are going to do, meaning God and Jesus, and yet Christians completely flip it upside down and all around to the complete opposite of what it actually says. So go ahead and listen to this lady and see what she says.
The devil isn't working in obvious ways. He's winning in places that we don't even notice. We're living in the world where families are crumbling, parents are estranged from their children, and division has become normal. And the worst part is, many who are believers in God don't even see it. The devil loves nothing more than breaking the family unit. He loves it more than murder. He loves it more than stealing, because when you break the family unit, you don't just hurt one person, you break generations. His strategy, because he knows he can keep parents and children disconnected. If he can keep husband and wife divided, or brothers and sisters against each other, he doesn't just win today, he wins for decades. And the world keeps calling it boundaries and healing and doing what's best for me. But this isn't healing. This is exactly what he wants. And it's time that we open our eyes, because when we protect the family, we protect the generations that come after us.
Okay, so I'm assuming that, now I understand she's a Christian. I understand she's talking about the Christian church and the Christian people and the Christian families. So from what she says, I'm going, oh, so she doesn't like Jesus. So I kind of have to believe it's possible that she thinks that Jesus is the devil. She's clearly not, N-O-T, not in agreement with what Jesus said or with what God says in the Bible. And I'm going to pull up a verse from the Bible right now. Okay, so I did a Google search, and now I have my actual physical Bible in my hand. It's King James Bible. It is Luke 12:51 through, through Luke 12:53, so 3 verses. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to read off first what Google came up with, and then I'm going to read it straight from the Bible. So I asked the question was, did Jesus say he was coming back to divide, to separate? And the answer is yes. Jesus, he came to bring division, not worldly peace. Now listen to those words. He came to bring division, not, no, N-O-T, not worldly peace, causing conflict even within families. Luke 12:51 through 53, which I'm going to read in a second. Because his message forces choices between him and the worldly ways, creating splits between believers and non-believers, father and son, mother and daughter, as people choose between spiritual truth and old traditions. So let me read it straight from the Bible. King James Version. Luke 12, verse 51. Suppose ye that I am come to give peace on earth. I tell you nay, but rather division. In other Bibles, it'll say, I tell you the truth, I come to bring division. So I'm just going to do the old King James language. I tell you nay, but rather division. Verse 52. For from henceforth there shall be 5 in one house divided, 3 against 2, and 2 against 3. This is the family. This is the household. The father verse 53. The father shall be divided against the son, and the son against the father. The mother against the daughter, and the daughter against the mother. The mother-in-law against her daughter-in-law, and the daughter-in-law against her mother-in-law. Why do Christians think that division is a bad thing? I mean, this is the whole separating the wheat from the chaff. That's what the metaphor was about. It was literally saying, hey, the evil is going to be separated from the good. So, do you guys understand where I'm coming from? Like, I understand, like, this lady sounds like, wow, she's such a kind, loving, caring woman. No, she's not. See, I'm not going to get too in detail, but what happened was a long time ago, Cain basically walked the earth, and like a narcissist, which he is, he had to hide himself. He had to lie and say certain things to fit in. Otherwise people would ostracize him and even kill him and his children, his offspring. So he had to find a way to manipulate, to intermix with regular people that weren't evil. And what happened is the seeds got mixed within families. Some kids were empaths, some were demonic narcissists, so you had the good mixed with the evil, and you didn't know who was who. And so now we are at a time where that separation is happening. The good from the evil are being divided, and it is clear. If you are not seeing this right now, at everywhere you go, then you are blind. You are completely asleep. I would say yes, the devil is very tricky, and clearly this lady is an emissary, or what's another word for it? She's an agent for the devil. It's very possible the devil is actually inside her and is manipulating and using her to turn people against what God and Jesus have clearly stated. Hey, here's what's going to happen. And she's against it.
The devil isn't working in obvious ways. He's winning in places that we don't even notice. We're living.
You can say that again, Einstein. This is a woman who has not, I shouldn't say woman, a person who has not read their Bible. Or they read it and they didn't want it. They didn't want to hear what it was saying. So yeah, I'll just change it in my mind that's not what it means. I'm going to flip it around. See, the reason why we have suffered on this planet so much is because the demon seed of Cain has been so interbred and intermixed within every family that the narcissists are manipulative and tricky, and they make everybody miserable and on and on. It's like there has to be a separation, period, because otherwise the evil is not going to get better. It's going to just continue to get worse. Okay, I always use the wrong word, so it's separating the wheat from the tares. I always say chaff for some reason. Okay, I'm going to read this. It's from the New King James Version, not the Old Language. Or the King's Language. I'm not quite sure. I forget how you say that. Okay, so this is going to be from Matthew 13:24 through 30. Okay, here we go. So it says, the parable of the wheat and the tares. Verse 24, another parable he put forth to them, saying, the kingdom of heaven is like a man who sowed good seed in his field, but while the man slept, his enemy came and sowed tares amongst the wheat and went his way. But when the grain had sprouted and produced a crop, then the tares also appeared. So the servants of the owner came and said to him, Sir, did you not sow good seed in your field? How then does it have tares? He said to them, an enemy has done this. The servants said to him, Do you want us then to go and gather them up? But he said, No, lest while you gather up the tares, you also uproot the wheat with them. Let both of them grow until the harvest. And at the time of the harvest, I will say to the reapers, First gather together the tares and bind them in bundles to burn them, but gather the wheat into my barn. So here's the problem. When they are, I'm going to use the word born, but when they begin to sprout and grow, the roots grow together and intermingle. So if you rip up the tares, you also rip up the wheat. So once they grow and you pick them, then you can separate them. That's where we're at right now. Now, for most of you, I want to believe if you're on this channel, especially if you've been on this channel for a while, I would have to believe that you're a very awake person. So if you are not literally in the last 6 or 7 years, 8 years, it has become extremely obvious. Like, wow, there's people on the left, people on the right. And I don't just mean politically, but I mean in just the way people treat each other. There is a clear separation and division. It's like, oh, you can now see the difference between the good and the bad. Now, the bad, they're still trying to hide. That's why narcissists do these little games and tricks and stuff, because they're trying to blend in. And by the way, just to be really clear, narcissists are literally the seed of Cain. They are from Cain, from the seed of Cain. They are the children that were from the seed, or I'm going to say sperm, of Cain, period. And what did it say about Cain? He was going to have to find a way to mix in and intermix with people, which means he was going to have to lie and hide who he was, etc., etc. And there was going to be a mark. Well, the mark is that look in the eyes of narcissists. They're very narrow. The pupils are very small and tiny. They're constantly stuck. They've got this just totally focused look all the time. So the difference is now we're waking up. We can see that, like, okay, I want to ask a lot of you guys. Can you not spot narcissists now at least better than you used to? Maybe not the first time you talk to them, but after a period of time, like, oh, I mean, to me, it's so obvious. Like, once you hang out with someone, you can see it because they slip up. They say one thing. Like, one guy said to me a few months ago, like, well, you don't actually believe in God, do you? And heaven and all that stuff. I'm like, yeah, why? Like, do you really? I'm like, oh, absolutely. I absolutely believe in God and Jesus, the teachings of Jesus, you know, et cetera, et cetera. And he's like, oh, okay. And then about a month ago, he told me that he didn't tell me, he was telling someone else, and I overheard it. And after they left, I'm like, wait, you go to church every Sunday? You? He goes, well, yeah, why? I'm like, because you said you didn't believe in God. You literally, he told me this. He said, yeah, I go, you literally told me that was fairy tale stuff, that it wasn't real. So my point is like, you're starting to see the bullshit. You're starting to see where their stories don't match up and their lies don't match up. It's becoming very obvious. Now here's the deal. Either that lady is purposely twisting the teachings of the Bible, or she's being manipulated by the devil, or maybe it's just as innocent and naive as she has never read her Bible. Because what she's saying completely and totally goes against what Jesus says and what God says. And here's the part that will trick most people. What she's saying sounds like a good thing. Like, hey, can't let the devil divide us. Can't let the devil bring division. We got to keep families together. It sounds like a loving, kind, good thing. But it's not. By the way, I posted those verses in the comment section on her video. Personally, my whole life, it's all about family. It's all about bringing friends and family together. And as an empath, I worked really hard to get my family to love me, and they were never going to love me. In fact, when I was 20 years old, when I woke up, I had called my mom up. I'm not going to go to the store, but I said, hey, like, what? I don't understand. And she was like, she literally said, till the day she dies, she will do everything in her power to make sure that I'm never successful, that she will not quit until I'm literally homeless living in the gutter. And she literally said, she goes, I don't mean like kind of poor. I mean homeless. I mean literally living in the gutter. And I was like, oh, geez. One thing that I heard multiple times, I think the first time was from Tony Robbins, but then I heard it from therapists, etc., and read it in books, is, family isn't necessarily people that were born into the same family physically. Family is the people that love you, that care about you, that are there for you. People that are so wicked that they want to make sure that you are so poor that you're living in the street, literally living in the gutter. I don't care who you are. That's not family. That's not love. Period. And that is what God is dividing and separating. So tell me your thoughts on what that lady said and what the verses in the Bible said. If you see this in a different light, share it with me. I would love to hear it, because I'm just, honestly, I'm going, this is what it says, and this is what's happening right now. It's matching up biblically with what is written in the Bible. Hey, if you enjoyed this video, if you enjoyed this talk, go ahead and click subscribe, click the like button, make a comment. And as always, if you want to make a donation to this or help this channel out, there's a PayPal link right there in the description box. And you can also buy one of my dating or relationship books and or hire me for coaching. Alright guys, I'll see you in the next video. Bye.